Hey everybody, this is Andrew Cummings here, and welcome to yet another missionary moment. Now, some of you might be saying, "What do you mean, yet another missionary moment?" It's because I used to do these like a year or so ago, and I was doing them. However, um, events conspired so that for a while I wasn't doing them. So, for example, I had a cell phone that didn't work, didn't really couldn't really get a good image. And when my cell phone was working, then the internet connection was here would be low. And today, I don't know, there might be some pauses in the internet connection. I don't know. And then it was just a question of time, and I was just back to the wall busy, and so unable to take time out and do these. Well, now, praise the Lord, been able to get my hands on a better cell phone that has a better image. Not only that, as far as time goes, well, we have the coronavirus, and that not as in we have it. We don't have it, as far as anyone knows in the house, but we have it here in Brazil, and so everything is going on lockdown. So all of our church services here have been canceled, as I know many of you in the States are dealing with that also. All of our extra church activities have been canceled, and so this leaves me with time. So I've been always saying, man, if I had more time, I'd like to do a lot of things. You know, fill in the blank. If I have more time, I'll do this. Well, I have more time, and one of the things on this list was doing Missionary Moment. And as it turns out, we have some stuff to talk about. So I want to talk about the coronavirus, or COVID-19, or the China virus, or the Kung Flu, or call it what you want to call it, but you all know what it is because you're all dealing with it. And so I just thought I'd share what's going on here. First of all, I just want to say that things here in Brazil are not nearly as bad, from what I can tell, not nearly as bad as they are in the U.S. The level of infection is way higher in the U.S. than it is here, and it's not even a fraction of how bad it is in Italy. I just saw pictures of the military trucks carrying bodies to their final resting place in Italy, and that's just some sobering imagery right there. And I want to stress, things aren't that bad yet, and I'm pretty pleased with the reaction of our governors. It's been our leaders here in Brazil up until this point. It's been measured. It hasn't been panicky, but it is being taken seriously. How seriously? Well, here, one of the first things that happened here in São Luís, and by the way, here in São Luís and in the state of Maranhão, we have 0 confirmed cases so far. May it be that way. However, there's, I believe, some 30-some cases, suspected cases that are not confirmed. And so we're kind of looking at that. So what happened? The first thing that happened was that the university closed down. Well, that affected me because I'm taking some philosophy courses at the university, so that kind of put a kibosh on that after 2 weeks of classes. It was like we just got to know everybody, just got in the rhythm, and all of a sudden, I'll talk about, if I have time, I'll talk about those philosophy courses later, because it's opened up a whole new venue of ministry for us here in Brazil. But it has also, so then the university closed down, and right after, I mean, it's a domino effect. Right after the university closed down, then all of our schools closed down, and all of our after the public schools closed down, and then all of the private schools and the private universities closed down, and after that, all of the churches. And I say all of the churches. I do believe that most of our churches here in São Luís have closed. I know our pastors here have I believe all of our association pastors have closed their church. And I really want to point out how pleased I am with the leadership that Pastor Francivaldo showed during this. He didn't panic. It wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. We're going to close the services. In fact, he was reluctant to close services, as I think every pastor should be really reluctant to close down services. But he went and sought the advice of medical professionals, and the medical professionals impressed on him how serious the issue was. And so at that point, he came, and we have canceled our services. And then we're looking for ways to obviously to minister to the people. So far, I believe, I think it's in the works between here the next week. Other sectors will be closed down to a bare minimum because they're trying hard to prevent this. Brazil is looking, we're behind the curve as far as infection goes, but we're looking to other countries and seeing what's happening there and trying to take preventative steps so that and possibly what might be considered some draconian preventative steps so that doesn't happen. That being said, the amount of cases here is on the increase. Yesterday in the morning, it was in the 200s to 300s, depending. There's two different agencies that track, and both agencies, they come up with different numbers. So, I'm sorry, I'm in a rocking chair, and I tend to rock when I think. I'll try to keep that under control. Both agencies, they come up with two different numbers, but the numbers are close. So, today, I believe the one with the higher number was like 500 some cases. So it jumped from 2,200 some, or close to 300 yesterday, to over 500 today. So that's quite a jump, and that's nationwide. The big popular, the highest number of cases by far is the state of São Paulo, which is the largest city, has the largest city in Latin America. So that's in fact, I think it's the largest city in the Western Hemisphere. So big population center, lots of crowded places, so that's going to be a high concentration. Rio de Janeiro, also big city, lots of people living in close quarters. It's going to be a lot of people and spreading a lot. So that's the situation that Brazil is in with regard to the virus. We have some of the same stuff. We have some of the same politicizing going on. There's a lot of people that don't like the current president, and so they're trying to pin this on him. And as our current president resembles another president I know of, he tends to say things off the cuff, and so he said some things that haven't helped him. He has a couple sons that go around saying things off the cuff too, even more ridiculous stuff, and that's gotten them into trouble. But as other than that, the general, I'm fairly pleased with the general reaction, how the government is functioning and what they're trying to do to halt this. And I'm very pleased with our pastors, both our state association and also our national pastors, and their taking this seriously, because I think it is something that needs to be taken very seriously. What's this going to mean for us ministerially? Well, first of all, it's mean canceling a lot of events. So we had, for instance, we were scheduled at the beginning of April to have some visitors from the U.S. with us. That's not going to happen. We are staring down the barrel. We had a full July, 2 missionary groups coming in July, and two missionary groups, and another family coming to visit us in June, and we're staring down the barrel of all of those being canceled. The one group was Music Week, and the Music Week, I put it right now, and it's about 80% certain that that's going to be canceled. And interestingly enough, at this point, it'll be canceled more because of U.S.-related stuff, because we have our teachers are a team that comes from the U.S. It'll be canceled more because of that, probably, at this point, than because of this situation here in Brazil. Although that's speaking today. In 2 weeks, that could change, and it could be more of the situation here than there. But it's like 80 to 90% that's going to be canceled. And then, of course, the other group coming right on their heels in July was going to do an English day. And none of these people have bought tickets yet, but buying tickets now in the U.S. is hard. It's very uncertain. You don't want to buy tickets for a flight that's not going to happen. So, like I said, these events that we're looking forward to a lot, and we've been planning for and putting a lot of energy in ever since the end of last year, these events are probably not going to happen. By the way, my son Michael is looking at the screen, and as you can tell, we're doing this outside, and so you hear the dogs barking and whenever a car goes by. But he's looking at the screen, so if there's any questions, feel free to ask questions, and if there's any important questions, he'll any questions actually that he can send me, ask me the questions, and at the end I can try to answer them. I'm not looking at the screen here. I've got my technical assistant Michael looking at the screen here. So anyway, those events, big events that we had planned, we raised funds for, and all kinds of stuff, and it looks like those are not going to happen. One thing that's happening now that is still going on is camp construction. I was just out at the camp last weekend, actually Sunday night and Monday, so that I could be there first thing in the morning when the construction people came, and we got that all set up. And then I've been kind of managing that from afar. Very thankful for technology that allows me to talk to my bricklayer. I've had several issues come up with the electricity, and then the latest was a leaky pipe. And so we're getting all of that fixed so that we can do that. So that is going on, and hopefully, Lord willing, we're going to have the main structure of our kitchen done within the next few weeks. So that's not something I really have to travel. I'll have to go out once or twice, but it's not large groups in large places. So hopefully, I'll still be able to do that. We'll see, unless they shut down all the travel, and then we'll have to suspend that until things get going again. But right now, we're continuing that with the materials that we bought on hand, and we'll see where we go with that. So that's something that is happening right now. I guess there's a question.
It just says, Elder Brown just says, Beg's conference in May has been canceled.
Which conference?
Beg's conference.
Oh, Alistair Begg's conference. Yeah, I believe that's Pastor Brown. Yeah. It's good to hear from you. And yes, that conference has also been. I think most conferences I heard that. I think in the U.S., you guys know, almost every conference where there's any group of people has been canceled. My brother Joe and his wife Kaylin, they are. Well, you've watched. I share their videos on Facebook all the time. They're open roading videos, and they were scheduled to be at a big RV conference, which was canceled. So I know this being, and just about every conference, every type of thing like that here in Brazil has been canceled also. Here's something I'd like you to be praying about. In October, two things to be praying about. In October, we have scheduled our church conference. And we have scheduled to come down and speak at that a supporting pastor of ours, a pastor of a supporting church, Dan Baltich. And he and his family are going to come down and spend some time with us. And we are very excited for this to happen. And they've already purchased their tickets, and they're excited to come down, and he's going to be our conference speaker. So I would just appreciate if you pray that would be allowed to happen, that God in his graciousness would lift this this plague that's come over the world in time for that to happen. Just because the tremendous amount of preparation and donations and so on that have gone into that project, I would appreciate that. And then also, we're scheduled to fly back to the States in November. November 23rd is our scheduled flight. So we're asking for your prayers also that God would allow that to happen. And once again, tickets are already bought. When you buy tickets early, you get good prices. And I bought tickets way before I knew anything about the coronavirus. So we would really ask for your prayers that these two events would be allowed to happen. Of course, if we go on furlough, but churches still aren't meeting, that'll kind of go against the whole purpose of going on furlough. But anyway, that's those prayer requests. Those are looking for the future. The hope is that taking the drastic measures that are being taken, that this thing we'll be able to see the light of day by the middle of the year, hopefully. But we'll see. Another thing that influences our music week, and that is both here and in the United States, classes have been suspended for at least a month, and that means that they'll go into July. So that hurts our plans for July also. So that's kind of the situation where we're at. We know also that we understand there's a lot of economic hardship going on in the United States because of this, and of course our being maintained here in Brazil depends, humanly speaking, superficially speaking, on the generous contributions of people from the United States. And so we understand that that will be harder for people. And we just want you to know that we're trusting God, and we don't. Uh, if God wants to take us through some leaner economic times, He's perfectly capable and able to do that, and we're willing to flex with that, no problem. And God has we've gone through lean financial times before, and God's never allowed us to starve. So that is that's where we're going to be. That's our attitude toward it right now, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens over the next several months. Another prayer request to be praying about before I go, and that is be praying for our church leaders here, because we're having to take the same decisions. Like I said, we're having to cancel the services. In many cases, we don't have the infrastructure that churches in the U.S. have. I got an email from our sending church today, and they're talking about online giving, and one of our Brazilian pastors in our WhatsApp group said, well, our people don't have that custom, and I said, well, it might be time to create some new customs. I think we're going to have to start creating a lot of new customs if we're going to keep this thing afloat during this very economic time. But I also encourage them, this very difficult time. I also encourage them. I say, this is moments when we didn't necessarily take this class in seminary, how to deal with a worldwide pandemic. But it is a time for us to actually, when pastoring our flock, will probably mean more than it usually does on a day-to-day basis, and we're gonna be leading our churches through uncharted waters. And so pray for our pastors and pray for myself and our family as we work on as we help lead the believers that God has entrusted into our care through these times. And also pray for our pastors that God will give them wisdom, Pastor Francivaldo, as we seek to carry out the day-to-day operations of the church with these new limitations. So on Sunday, you'll probably see me come online, Sunday morning. Some of you may see me come online, but I'll be speaking in Portuguese. I'm going to be doing my adult Sunday school lesson in Portuguese, obviously, from the church, so studying the life of David. So any of you Lusophone people out there, any of you Portuguese speakers who are listening into this, and if you'd like Sunday morning, your church doesn't have anything going on, if you want to tune in Sunday morning and hear the next installment of the life of David, which is talking about we're talking about his struggle with Absalom. We're like in the third week of talking about his struggle with Absalom. Then you can feel free to tune in. And I think we have another question here. My producer is signaling me.
Pete Garbacki.
Yeah, Pete Garbacki. Hey, Pete.
Is asking, any illnesses in your church or local area?
Okay. So we have in the state of Maranhão, and there's a few states like this in Brazil still. In the state of Maranhão, we have no confirmed cases of coronavirus. The state just to the north of us, the state of Pará, has one confirmed case. I just checked this out before going online. We are here in the state of Maranhão. There are several suspected cases, but none of those have been confirmed as actually being the coronavirus. There's people with the sniffles. There's always people with the sniffles. And so nowadays, whenever anyone has the sniffles, like my wife has the sniffles right now, whenever anyone has the sniffles, it's a little cold, all of a sudden it takes on new proportions. But so far, no one with any exaggerated symptoms that we can tell in our church family or in the area among the people I know at large. So and we would like it very much to stay that way. We are praying that it'll stay that way. One of the silver linings in this whole thing have been the memes, and I told someone that that I've been collecting coronavirus memes because people laughter helps people get through these things, and I think it was the state of Iowa. I saw someone from the state of Iowa, which at that point had no cases. I don't know if that's still the case or not, but they were they were showed a bunch of, I think it's like from the movie Braveheart, people standing with their spears and clubs and saying we're holding off the coronavirus. And that's how we are here in the state of Missionary. We're holding it off as fast as we can. But I don't know. I would, if I had to guess, humanly speaking, I'd say tomorrow or the next day we'll have at least 1 or 2 confirmed cases here. That's just the way it seems to be going. And then hopefully more people will take seriously this the idea that we need to really limit contact until this is done. So that's where we are, and so lots of things to be praying about. Now, since I'm going to be at home a while, foraying out on rare occasions, I plan to do another couple of these in the next few days. And there's one thing I want to do. There's someone keeps posting, or not just one person, several people have posted this article on my FaceTime about the president of Brazil saying he trusts Jesus in front of a crowd of, I don't know how many, thousands of people. And they put it on my timeline. Andrew, what do you think of that? Well, I have thoughts about that, but I won't talk about it now because today is Coronavirus Day, so we'll talk about that next time. Probably the next couple days or so, we'll do another one of these, and we'll talk about the coronavirus, and I'll give you an update on what's going on there. But also, I'll talk about that article so that then maybe people will stop posting it on my timeline. But it is a very interesting article and has lots of implications for for ministry here in Brazil. So, if you're watching this, chances are good you're already subscribed to our Facebook page. We're going to make this available on YouTube in just a little bit, so you can watch it there also. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can always, the best way to find out what's going on with us in our ministry is through Facebook. It's facebook.com/Andrew Cummings. I mean, it's really easy. And then our Andrew Cummings is one word. And then our website is andrewcummings.com, and you can follow us on there. And we're also on Instagram, which is the social media site of the day. We keep things, I try to keep things kind of light on Instagram, and pictures of the surrounding areas, fun pictures of things I see here in Brazil, pictures of some of my hobbies, family pictures, that kind of thing on Instagram. But if you do the gram and haven't yet, you can follow us at, it's also Instagram/Andrew Cummings. I think you might be noticing a trend. And we also, my producer is letting me know that we have another comment.
Yeah, Elder Brown showed up again and
Yes.
saying, this plague has caused me into looking in using Facebook in a more beneficial way for ministry. Trying to teach an old man a new way isn't easy.
Yeah, tell me about it. One thing I was telling my wife, and also talking to the pastors earlier today in our Facebook group, is that thank the Lord, thank God that this happened when we have all of this technology. You know, I've done quite a bit of reading recently on the times of the Black Plague in Europe. And I got to tell you, even though this is disruptive, it's annoying, it's costing us financially, it comes nowhere even close to the disruption and the mayhem and the chaos and the death that the Black Plague caused. And one of the reasons why we're able to deal with it is because we have all this technology, and we can because of this communication, we can talk to each other, and life goes on. And so we can have church, we can talk to our pastors, and we can coordinate our efforts, and we can, the university can send things to its students, and churches can send things to their parishioners, and we can do messages, and I can tell you, our supporters and people who pray for us, I can tell you what's going on here in Brazil, and you can be praying for us there. and that's a huge blessing. And so thank the Lord we have this infrastructure and we can deal with this. And I'm so much better. So to get an idea of the Black Plague, take what's going on in Italy and multiply it by maybe 1,000, and that's the way it was back in those days. So we've this is disruptive. It's annoying. It's costly, but it's nowhere near what other things that have happened in history. So that's some good perspective. And to Pastor Brown's point there, yeah, that's wonderful. This is what we got to do. We got to use the tools at our disposal, and do the best we can. Look for opportunities, and I've become convinced over the years that there's never anything bad that happens which does not bring with it a series of opportunities that we would not have had otherwise. So, and I'm convinced that this is going to be the case as well. There's going to be a ton of opportunities for ministry and for glorifying God that we have now because of this that we would not have had otherwise. So our plans got canceled, or are slowly being canceled. But God's plans are not, and with this are going to come a number of opportunities. So there maybe Pastor Francivaldo's message Sunday night, it was someone that wouldn't be in our church on Sunday that actually needed to hear that, and so they're going to see it on Facebook, and it'll be a blessing to them. And I think we've got another question or comment here. Am I right?
No, it's just Elder Brown's just saying that he's got to do some work, and he's praying for our daily life.
Hey, and thank you very much. We appreciate it, and we know, and Pastor Brown's also is always interacting with us there on Facebook as well, and we appreciate that.
Shana Felici says, "True people."
That's Shanna.
Shanna Felici
Yes.
says, "True people look for answers during a crisis like 9/11. So maybe they will be more open to hearing the good news."
Exactly, and that's a good point, and one I didn't bring up. That is that this has got a lot of uncertainty, and it has a lot of people. It has the potential to have a lot of people thinking about eternity. This has me think. I was going to talk about the philosophy class I'm taking. Opportunity came for me to take a philosophy course at the university, and it's the 2 weeks I had of classes were a blast because I'm dealing with a lot of people whose worldview is. Let me put it this way: I'm getting out of the Christian bubble, which I try to do anyway. But I try to do that anyway. But I'm getting out of that bubble more, I guess you could say, in the university, and this whole virus thing has people who normally think only in materialist concepts, materialist ways of thinking. It has them thinking suddenly in more of eternal aspects. So it's very, very exciting and some great opportunities for us to see that. So that's wonderful. Hey, thanks guys for watching, and thanks for interacting. And like I said, since I'm home, and I also have a list of honeydew projects and a lot of other things to do. However, I'm going to be taking some time to do some more of these. So we'll try to keep you more up to date and in touch with what's happening here. Thanks for watching, and until next time, God bless.